Well, hello. Yeah, midnight. And I don't know how I was sleeping pretty soundly and I just happened to wake up, between 15 and 20 minutes before midnight and to do my video. Of course, I also had to go to the bathroom, so that probably had something to do with it. Anyway, uh, I'm in that mood lately of exploring. Well, let me just read the blurb and the last sentence explains the situation that I'm in a little bit. Does free will make God a tyrant? Again, early comments on my previous video sparked my reflections on the situation I find myself in, along with the rest of humanity. Some seem to imply that things are the way they are because we ate of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Apparently this pissed off God, the creator of all it is. So Lucifer was hired by God to subvert creation and turn the heaven of ignorance into the hell of experience. This is obvious to me, at least from the vantage point I currently occupy. Something is terribly wrong, and God apparently expects us to pay for the mistake of choosing knowledge. Look at the world. It's a high price to pay. However, I think God is wrong for only allowing a little good to appease us, while inundating us with evil to punish us. Will the real tyrant please stand up? Do we have an egocentric creator on a rampage to vindicate his anger for challenging him with our desire to experience life with all its apparent contradictions, yet find love and peace that were hidden from us by forcing us to come back over and over again in different bodies and identities with no memory of what went before? I hope you can see that I'm entertaining insane questions. What are they? Yes, I have been in a situation that, and I'm talking about some of the things that are going through my head as I examine all the things that I've ever believed and taken for granted. One thing I do not question is there a God? To me, that's a given. There is a creator that made everything in the beginning, that started the wheel turning and the ball rolling, or however you want to put it. Something, and I call it God, did that. Something started everything. It didn't just all of a sudden happen by accident. Now, I have people that are quite intelligent from reading some of the comments and stuff like that, but they come from the place there is no God, that all of this just happened. Nothing to me just happens. It has cause and effect. Everything is cause and effect, cause and effect. Now, I won't argue with people as I look at the world to say that the world is run by egomaniacs, that the world has been turned over to the lowest common denominator of humanity. Some say the Earth is a prison planet, and this is where the beings that are the most problematic for God, for the universe, are sent here to work through their insane ideas. And I do believe that life is, as I see it, life as we've been experiencing it is insane. I try to look at it in the overall picture. Now, I've always seen things exceptionally. In other words, I'm the exception and others are the exception, because we want good to be the dominant force. We don't want evil to be the dominant force, yet we find ourselves in a world where evil is the dominant force, more so in recent, I was going to say millennia, but in recent centuries and decades, we seem to be getting worse as our knowledge increases, and yet does it increase? According to Anastasia, again, I keep going back to that, she painted an image, a picture of me, of how creation was intended to be in the beginning and how it actually was in Russia and in other places on Earth that were not poisoned by the cabal and by the influences of Mesopotamia and Egypt and some of the earlier civilizations that sprouted here on Earth. It was very, very different world that she painted, and I love that world. I love that world, and if I spoke Russian and didn't have language barriers, and if it was a little bit better climate, I think I would be inclined to want to go live in Russia. Speaking of going and living somewhere else, I been trying to find another place to live because as I've said before, I feel like my son's lifestyle and mine are just very, very different, and I would be much more at peace if I was in my own place with my own roof over my head. And I found a place that I thought would be ideal. It's only maybe a mile or at the most 2 from where my son lives, and just a little bit further from where my daughter lives. So it would be an ideal location, and I told them I would be able to, because of the money that I had drawn up for legal expenses, I would be able to pay them a significant, 6 months in advance. Basically, what I told them, and I still have things in storage that I could convert to cash. Once I knew what I was going to be doing, I still was able to get some things of Dr. Mary's out that have some value to them, and be able to again convert that to cash. So I'd have that, but the people that I wanted to rent from were concerned that I didn't have enough guaranteed income. I suspect that the whole economic system that we've known in the world with the dollar-based economy is going to collapse. It's already collapsed as far as I'm concerned, but it's going to be not hidden from anybody. It's going to be collapsed this year in 2016 at some point. I don't know exactly what that point said. Some said spring, some say summer, some say fall, but there are prognosticators out there who insist that it's going to happen in 2016. I don't know. And I don't like to set dates because I've gotten into so much trouble thinking that it was going to happen. Things were going to happen in 2011, then 2012, and every year since. But the whole system of the Earth, the whole way Earth is run, who's responsible? See, that's the question that I keep coming back. Who's responsible? I know lots of people have lost their homes, as I did. Many of them had mortgages. All commercial mortgages, period, are fraud. Period. They're fraud. The banks do not lend money. They steal wealth from people. People have the wealth because we have the ability to create, to manufacture, to build things, to fix things. We have that ability. And they use that against us. Doesn't benefit us. It benefits a handful of people who've taken control. This is insane. And anybody that would allow this, allowing, anything goes. I would never create a world where anything goes. That doesn't mean that I would force people to make certain choices, but I would not allow the tyrants to take over a world. I'm sorry. And like father, like son, the tyrants, are they the sons of God too, or Lucifer? These are things that I explore, and I don't have all the answers. Thank you for listening, and bear bearing with me as I go through this dark night of my soul, exploring things that I never, and asking questions that I never would have asked previously. Again, thank you, and